प्रेजेंटेशन चल रही है।
Okay. Hi, I'm Itishri Agarwal on behalf of ACE Group, and today I'm here to present a global business workshop, and country assigned to us is Vietnam. Let's start. Next slide, please. As we know, Vietnam is a prolonged war. Has a prolonged war history. So Vietnam was first defeated by China and was seized from 1100 BC to 1000 years, and followed by they have the French colonization in 1854. Followed by they have a brief history in from 1954 to 1976. The French defeated the then Binh Phu, and also the Vietnam was divided in two basic parts: North Vietnam and the South Vietnam, from which North Vietnam won and back to its equity and communism. Next slide, please. As we can see that Vietnam has a geographical characteristics with Southeast Asia is the location with a total area of 331,212 10 square kilometers, followed by the most largest populous country comes in 14th number. Next slide, please. Then we have the major political outlines, which is the political leaders, and the president hold the most powerful, considered as the most powerful person, as he takes all the decision for the civil and for other functionalities, and also known as the CPV of the country. Next slide, please.
If I talk about the popular culture and traditions of the Vietnam, Vietnam culture is one of the oldest in the Southeast Asia and is heavily influenced by the Chinese culture. Here are some popular culture of the Vietnam. In the first picture, you can see how a family is happily celebrating Lunar New Year. It is also known as Tet in Vietnam. It is a big celebration. It's almost 9 days celebration in Vietnam, generally starting from the end of the January or from the beginning of the February. In the second picture, you can see people of the Vietnam like to celebrate New Year by visiting pagoda. They like to go there and pray for their health, wealth, and the luck of their families and the loved ones. Third one is the burning votive paper. It is also one of culture of Vietnam. Next slide. So here are the two main events that recently occurred in the Vietnam. In the first picture, you can see how people survived as Typhoon Noru occurred in Vietnam. Most of the airports were closed by the government, and government also implemented curfews at this time. Second one is a big breaking news nowadays. TikTok booms in Vietnam. Approximately 71% of the Vietnamese people like to spend their free time on TikTok now. They love to create videos on TikTok nowadays. Next slide.
Well, in this part, we're going to talk about two principal indicators. First of all, is gross domestic product. As we can see, this indicator has a growing behavior. Actually, in 2021, has $3,201 per person. This indicator measures the income level, average income level in the country per person. So it's is forecasting that in 2027, for example, this quantity is multiplied for 2. The other indicator is inflation rate. This indicator has an impact in the real price of in a country. So we can see this indicator is really stable. Next slide, please. Major industries and export. We can see three major industries. First of all is agriculture, forestry, and fishing. This agriculture industry has approximately 15 to 18% of the total economy. After that is industry, including construction with 33% of the total economy. And finally, services and technology services, which is 36% of the total economy. The major exports are also technology and services. We can see telephones, broadcasting equipment, textile, footwear, and other machine parts. Next slide, please.
Moving forward to punctuality, appointments, and concept of time. The Vietnamese usually arrive late at the meetings, especially when they are not formal. And while the business and government usually follow the Gregorian calendar, the other holidays, like the seasonal holidays, are determined using the traditional calendar. So make sure when you do business with the Vietnamese, they are going to arrive late in the meetings. In the next slide, we can see that the holidays and superstitions that are in Vietnam. The Vietnam has the least holidays in a year, almost 10, in which the Tet, the lunar year, and the National Day, which falls on September 2, are the three most important holidays. Even in now, the lucky days are considered while planning the significant events like marriages, trips, business, and other life events. Talking about the dining etiquettes, the chopsticks are considered while eating the food in Vietnam, and they should never be placed sticking straight up in a bowl of rice. For the entertainment purpose, Vietnamese usually watch theatrical performances and they watch water puppet show, which is most famous in Vietnam, and they enjoy traditional Vietnamese music.
And if we talk about the language, the official language spoken in Vietnam is Vietnamese, which is the tongue language. The Vietnamese loves who attempt to communicate in their language, such as when they say Xin Chào, which means hello. Moving to the next slide. Uh, Can you move to the next slide? Yeah. In titles and address forms, the name of Vietnamese is mainly of three parts, which is the surname, middle name, and the last name. Also, people of Vietnam are too respectful to their elders as they call by the word Ong to the grandfather and the older women as Ba. Next slide, please. If we talk about the gestures and non-verbal communication, non-verbal communication gestures are commonly used by Vietnamese. Gentle bows, friendly smiles, nods, and avoidance of the direct eye contact. Avoid pointing to the with your index finger at the people or things. This is considered disrespectful. Instead, use open hand. Next slide.
Well, by giving gifts and receiving gifts, both outside and inside the company and members build the harmonious relationship and strengthens the relationship with the other party. However, they avoid the black wrappings and the sharp objects to be given in the gifts. Well, in the customs and traditions under the business culture of the Vietnam people, they more believe in the personal meetings than the online, and they handshake and present the business cards by both hands, and they worship the Than Thai god of wealth for bringing good fortune to the business. Well, under the religion part, the combination of Daism and Buddhism is more prevalent, and the Confucianism is also be seen in the Vietnam. Catholicism is more of a controversial topic, but the major part of the society follows the folk religion to pay respect to the spirits and the ancestors. Well, under the styles of dress and appearance, for men, more preferable shades are dark and tie is customary. But for the women, long skirts with high neckline top is more preferable. However, bright colors are regarded as inappropriate in this business culture of the Vietnam.
Well, although other countries has a combination between reactive, multi-active, or linear active, Vietnam, based on Lewis model, is only reactive society. So this means they are harmony-oriented, listener carefully. They prefer to face-to-face behavior. Next slide, please. So if we want to conduct a negotiation with Vietnam people, we have to know that we have to be polite, they never confront because they are harmony orientated. So we have to show any signs of anger or disgusting or arrogance with them because they consider this as a letdown in negotiation. Next slide, please. So as we can see before, there are some traditions in Vietnam, some festivals. One of the most important is Lunar New Year. for example, if we want to conduct a negotiation in this time is really inappropriate for them, because for them is really important this date. So we can conduct a negotiation in this date. Next slide, please. Also, we want to focus in Hofstede model in one of the principal factor, which is power distance. Why power distance? Because if we want to enter, for example, to the Vietnam market, we have to know how is the behavior of the employees, employers, or political people in Vietnam. Based on Hofstede model, Vietnam has 70 in the score. This is really high, for example, compared with Canada. That means the Vietnam people are their subordinates in Vietnam receive orders. They only complement this order, and that's it. The subordinate expect. Before slide, please. We have time. Subordinates expect to be told what they to do, and ideal boss is the benevolent autocrat. That's it. Thank you.